Hey guys, it's Marsha and welcome to Really Seriously For Real. We're more than halfway through season 3 and there's one thing I know for sure. Forget about the second wife. I'm afraid of Jenny. Let's go. Last episode, when things got too hot for Claire and Jamie in Edinburgh, they decided to retreat to Lallybroch. So this episode opens with their arrival at the estate, and they jumped right into it without hesitation. Claire, face to face with Jenny. Sure, it was easy with Ian, but Jenny? Yeah, Jenny, she's different. And I don't know who was more nervous, Claire or me. Laura Donnelly, the actress who beautifully plays Jenny, was perfect as always. You could tell she was excited to see Claire, but guarded as well. So throughout the review, let's tally how many times Jenny got her digs in at Claire. We'll call it Jenny's burnometer. Number 1, no warm greeting or hug. While Jamie was being scolded for not telling Ian that young Ian was with him and young Ian was spilling all of the details, I mean, seriously, you cannot tell this kid anything. Illegally selling liquor, consorting with criminals, the print shop burned down, and oh yeah, Auntie Claire killed a man. Killed him good. Needless to say, that didn't go over too well. Jenny and Ian laid into Jamie and Claire like they were teenagers busted by their parents, and Jenny took every opportunity to let it be known just how not happy she was to see Claire. Jenny calls Claire a stray, who drops back into their lives after 20 years like nothing happened. When Claire says there's more to it, Jenny suggests they should gather around the fire for the tall tale. Jenny dismisses Claire's 20-year absence as an excuse. See, I don't personally like confrontation or uncomfortable encounters, so if I were Claire, after I cried a lot, I may have made my way back to the Stones. Overall, Claire stays quiet. Jamie does address the issue of young Ian, however, stating that he treated him as though he were his own. And he snaps back at Jenny that she never cared how he got his money while he was sending money back home. All right. We'll put Jamie on the board for that one. But Jenny, she's not having it. She tells him how he gets his money is his business, but ultimately, when it comes to her son, he could have actually taught him the printing trade. It was on him to show Ian the illegal side. Yep, I'm taking back my point. Sorry, Jamie. Ian breaks up the verbal massacre by telling Jamie he'll need to discipline young Ian. Jamie decides instead of the belt to make Ian do some hard labor, which requires him to use manure, to which he tells his older sister Maggie he would rather get the belt. No, you won't. Back inside, Claire and Jenny run into each other after some small kids run past Claire. Jenny proudly introduces them to her and explains they're Maggie's children, who Claire held in that very room that they stood in. Jenny can't even look at Claire. When Claire remarks at how hard it is to believe Maggie with her own kids, Jenny says, well, that's what happens when 20 years go by. Jenny's oldest, Jamie, comes down and Jenny introduces him to Claire as someone who used to live in Lallybroch. That's what she's been reduced to. After taking her grandchild from him, once Jamie leaves, Jenny remarks the child wet itself. Claire offers to change the baby for her, and Jenny casually says she doesn't want to bewilder the band with a strange face. Later, Jenny and Jamie chat outside, and Jamie tells Jenny that she needs to give young Ian a taste of freedom while he still thinks it's hers to give. Sound advice, though Jenny turns around and reminds Jamie that it's a mortal sin to take a wife while the other still walks the earth. They talk more about it because Jenny desperately needed to understand what happened around Culloden and why didn't Jamie share this information with her. Jamie tells her that he hid Claire in a village and the village was attacked and everyone supposedly died. Unbeknownst to him, Claire got away. Jenny tells him the Claire she knew waited on those steps, watching the road for Jamie, and then charged off after him when he was taken by the Redcoats. That Claire would have never stopped looking for him. Okay. That night, as they readied themselves for bed, Claire and Jamie talk about the future. Jamie states they could build a cottage on the land, and Claire says how awkward that would be since Jenny hates her. She casts a warm light on those she trusts and a cold shadow on those she doesn't. Claire thinks she should tell Jenny the truth, and Jamie says that's not a good idea. Claire asks, well, what about Murtaugh? Because he believed them. And Jamie says Murtaugh was someone who had already seen the world. Jenny had never even left the farm, so it would be harder for her to believe. Jamie also tells Claire about going to find her when he escaped from Ardsmuir prison, citing the dying man Duncan Kerr and his tale of the White Witch guarding a treasure. Jamie says he swam to Silky Island in the frigid waters, but when he got there, Claire, of course, wasn't there, but the treasure actually was. He took only one gem and gave that to the governor, as we know as our friend, Lord John Grey. Of course, they get all sentimental, and Claire tells Jamie that she would think of him whenever she heard a bird's song. Jamie finally starts to prepare Claire for the big wife reveal, but the wife revealed herself first. First, the two kids bust in like, "Daddy, Daddy." And then Leary storms in yelling, "Sassenach Witch," among other expletives and anger. Poor Claire was totally ambushed and overwhelmed, and by the time she started to put it together, Leary spelled it out for her. "Oh, he didn't tell you. He's my husband now." By the time the storm blew out the room and Jamie went to calm the little one, which honestly just about broke my heart, he returned to Claire gathering her things. They have a very necessary exchange where Jamie explains the reason why he didn't tell her was because he didn't want to lose her. And he goes on to say that he doesn't love Leary and that they don't even live together. Claire cites the two children and the little girl with the red hair, which honestly was great because he retorts with, "There are other men in Scotland with red hair." The fight continues to escalate, with their anger intensifying, allowing both of them to lay out every insecurity they've had with each other over the years that they were apart. When Claire asks him why he couldn't tell her, he said it was because he was a coward. He was too scared to lose her and nothing mattered. He would sacrifice everything, even though she left him. Oh yeah, he said that. Claire says, "Left you?" She reminds Jamie that he's the one who sent her through the stones, and she would have gladly died with him. Jamie asks if she knew what it felt like to be less of a person for 20 years. Things continue to boil over, with Jamie grabbing Claire's arm and then forcefully kissing her. Claire slaps him, and the best chaotic, angry build-up to a satisfying sexual romp ensues as they tussle around the room like wild beasts, as Jenny says, when she dumps a pitcher of water on them before they could make it happen. Okay, they were pretty loud. Claire runs off. We see her later by the fire, and Maggie offers her whiskey. Maggie apologizes, admitting that it was her who told Leary. When Claire asks why, Maggie says, "Because Mother told me to." Jenny walks by just in that moment, and Claire immediately calls her out, and Jenny happily tells Claire that she did it because that was his wife. And then Claire says, "I'm his wife." Jenny asks Well, if that's the case, why didn't you try to find him after the war? And why did it take you 20 years to come back here? Claire says she wanted to be a part of the family. Ginny rightfully says that family writes letters and asks if she thought everything was just frozen in time waiting for her to return. Claire tells her that she fled to the Americas because she already had a husband and that she tried to put her past behind her. Sounds like season 1 synopsis. Ginny asks if Jamie knew. Claire says yes, and then asks if she had any children. And Claire said she never had any children with him. The man Frank. She's not lying. But for some reason, Jenny loosened up with that, citing that there's truth in what she says, but she still feels that Claire is holding back, and she's not sure if she could trust her again. The next morning, Claire was making a beeline out of Lallybroch, but Jamie stops her at the gate, professing his love for her, stating she was the only love he had ever known. Just then, here comes Larry with a mini shotgun ready to end Claire. Jamie tries to talk her down, and Larry says maybe their life wasn't perfect, but he was hers. And before she could even get into it, the gun just goes off. I was like, what? Claire knocks Larry away, and then she rushes over to Jamie while Larry flees. He's able to walk, but Claire goes into doctor mode and knows that she needs to get the shrapnel out. Jenny and Ian rush in, wondering who did this, and Claire forcefully says, Larry. Looks like she finally has something on the board. Claire successfully performs the surgery, and Jamie wakes and explains that he was in a bad way emotionally after leaving Hellwater. But one night at a holiday party at Lallybroch, everything just seemed so happy and joyful. The 2 little girls asked him to dance, and he had so much fun and laughed for the first time. He asked the girls who their mother was, and it was revealed to be Larry. I mean, I know that the holidays make everything better and brighter, but I still can't get with the idea that it would lead him to Larry. Even with the reason probably mostly being that he wants to be a father to the girls. But I guess when you're in such despair and every child that he's fathered has been out of reach, I guess. And then Jenny urged the match as well. But it's not like she knew just how crazy Larry was, but she knew now. Jamie explains that she must have had previous problems with one of her 2 previous husbands, and she would be afraid of Jamie if he even tried to touch her. And so he went to live in Edinburgh and provided for them from afar. Okay, admittedly, I may have started to feel a little bad for Larry when you think about how tough of a life she may have had, but I just keep on thinking about how much she's tormented Claire. Claire notices Jamie is burning up, and she reaches for her syringe and penicillin. And it's so funny watching Jamie because, he can confidently charge into battle, but he was super panicked a bit when he saw the needle. Claire joins Jenny outside on the stoop, and Jenny tells her that she didn't know who she was or who her family was. And even when Jamie told her that Claire may sometimes say some odd things, she didn't question it, citing how when Claire told her to plant potatoes, she did as she was told, and it kept them alive for more than one winter after Culloden. Jenny said that Jamie chose her, and that was enough. Jenny told Claire she was a sister to her, and Claire said she was only asking for a second chance. Alright, you know what? We're just getting rid of the counter because I don't think that we're going to need it anymore. Later, we see good old Ned, who attributes his youthful appearance to never getting married. Later, he explains that the marriage to Larry is technically invalid, but Jamie may need to face the church. They said it's possible to bring up charges with Larry that might get her sent to the Americas, but Jamie said no because he didn't want the girls to lose their mother. So Ned tells them that she wants alimony and child support. So much so that it would require Jamie to swim back to Silky Island to retrieve the jewels. But with his arm busted, he can't make the swim. So young Ian speaks up saying he could do it, and he swiftly shooed away. But Jamie explains that could actually work, and young Ian could see the world. Then Ginny says, maybe it's best they give him his freedom now while he still thinks it's theirs to give. Sound familiar? Jamie promises to take good care of Ian and to trust them. Oh boy. They look on at young Ian as he swims to the island. But Claire, she can't even look at Jamie. She thinks that this has been a mistake. They both had lives over those 20 years, and it wasn't so bad. Jamie says being a printer is not compared to being her husband. He tells her that they're mated for life. And it would have been a really beautiful moment had Claire not looked over his shoulder and realized that there's a ship right by the island. And then the men capture young Ian and the jewels. Never a dull moment for the Frasers. Wow, I am so glad that Claire and Jenny managed to work things out in the end. At Jenny, she is feisty, but if there's one thing, she loves her family. Bottom line. And personally, I think that she would be able to take it if they were to tell her that Claire travels through the stones. Listen, when they were on the stoop and Jenny was just like, look, I was already told before, you're going to say some crazy things and I'm just going to go with it. And that's just it, bottom line. So I think that she would be all right with it. What do you think? Comment down below. Thanks for watching. Until next time, guys.